Hello and welcome. My name is Mishka Kuma, and today we are playing RuneScape 3 Catalyst League. The Catalyst League is a temporary game mode in which you have increased XP rates as well as uh, cool little relics that enhance your gameplay, change the way you skill, change the way you do combat. And I am very excited. I have been, ever since they announced this, I have just been so ready for this to come out, and it's finally here. So, uh, gonna do a little bit of a voiceover, put clips together from the first day of playing. Went hard and went about 16, 18 hours on the first day. So I did actually stream for about the first 2 hours of leagues. That's why you'll see my model in a few of these clips here and there throughout the series. But it was really exciting. I love it when you have a fresh start of some kind of game and you've got everybody loaded in the beginner areas. I mean, you go run through any game right now, the beginning area is always completely dead. But at the start of a league, at the start of a fresh start server, everybody's there, everybody's pouring out like ants trying to escape the flooding rat hole or whatever. And as for our relic picks for this league, I think they're pretty straightforward. There are a few areas I was definitely debating on one way or the other, but for our tier one relic, we're definitely taking excavator. It just is so overpowered. There were people talking about if you combined divine woodcutter and animal wrangler together, you would still 9 times out of 10 choose excavator. Just that's how busted it is. Mining rocks and it automatically smiths and banks bars. Mining gem rocks, it automatically cuts and banks the gems. And then you've got the whole factor that it also works on archaeology. So that one's a no-brainer. The tier two, I decided to go with farming frenzy. Definitely a little bit of a toss up. You could go five-finger discount. You could go golden footed. The only reason I went farming frenzy is because I do plan on taking perfection later, which will make money not a factor. And five-finger discount is something that can be uh, kind of achieved through archaeology anyways. So, I don't think it's a huge difference of choice there. You could definitely go with any of them. But for what I'm choosing in the future and my plans now, Farming Frenzy definitely makes the most sense for me. Tier three is another kind of mix up of what you could choose. I simply just went for Assassin's Insight. I love the relics that introduce new ways to play the game, new teleports. Fairy's Flight and Void Walker, they're both teleports that you already can get access to in the game. It may take a while to get access to them, um, but you can get access to them. Whereas Assassin's Thoughts, there's no way you can teleport to Slayer areas or Slayer Masters, not as efficiently as it does. So I know Void Walker is a really good early on if you're like racing for ranks or something. Not racing for ranks, but racing to get, rank one in something. That's something that might benefit you a lot. But um, I definitely just, you know, prefer ease and interesting things. So I went with Assassin's Insight. Tier 4 is definitely something that I was kind of going back and forth between Clue Connoisseur or Production Master. Um, but to me, it was kind of a no-brainer. I mean, I love doing clues. To make clues uh not take I know you can complete clues very quickly, but the biggest thing about taking Clue Connoisseur is that you get more clue scrolls. And so I enjoy doing clues. I enjoy getting the loot from clues. I mean, it's basically like gambling in RuneScape. So it's definitely the biggest for fun perk. Production Master is also really good for a number of things. But just simply Clue Connoisseur letting you get double uh clue scrolls, it made it no brainer. Those are the four I've unlocked so far. Tier five, I'm almost positively gonna be going Necromancy. Tier six, again, Perfection, almost positively. And tier seven's another one. I think because I'm going Necromancy, I will probably just go Ascension. Everlasting Faith is interesting. I don't think I'll need it. It's a really good safety net, but I think I'd rather just be stronger than safer. I want to learn mechanics anyways. I don't want to just kind of brute force through everything. And sometimes the best defense is a good offense, and that's kind of the way I look at it. So, uh, I wish the relics were a little bit more closer in power and choice. It definitely feels like if I were to run back leagues again, I would probably choose the same perks every time. Not same perks every time, but it doesn't feel like there's a good variety of choosable relics. That said, I really enjoy the relics that we have, so I'm not complaining about that at all. Moving on, I didn't really have a lot of goals coming into leagues. I mean, I'm still kind of trying to figure out what I want to do. I think at the end, I would like to perhaps max as well as, of course, do a bunch of bossing. I was considering the idea of going for a quest cape. I don't want to hold myself to that yet, but when I was looking for a guide to follow, to get through the beginning portion of the game, because there's so much you can do in RuneScape 3. If you're coming from old school or other MMOs, there's so many like add-ons to the game as it's been evolving, and it's not like World of Warcraft or Final Fantasy where you have a campaign and you have an expansion, and once an expansion releases, kind of all the other content is kind of outdated. RuneScape is a game that's built up over 20 years and just kind of built on top of each other. So there's for example, there's diary tasks, there's quests, there's emissaries you have to do. Yeah, you don't have to do, but if you're going for points and you're going for completion, it's all things you want to work towards. There's daily events, wilderness flash events, Guthix caches. There's weekly events, which actually tomorrow will be a weekly reset, so I need to make sure to go out and complete all those. There's monthly events. There's just so much to do, and if you are somebody who enjoys to play efficiently, following guide in the beginning, at least kind of getting a really strong baseline is really important. So that's kind of what I've done for the first day. Uh, I am using this. I'm using this Cataleagues Master Doc by Juicy. I'll link it down in the comments. So if any of you are interested in also following along or haven't started leagues, or maybe you've started leagues and you just need a little bit of direction, I've really been enjoying it. Um, it's pretty solid. It's clearly a little outdated, and some of the things don't line up, but overall, it's been such a solid baseline, and I'm very appreciative towards it because otherwise, I would be so lost and my head would be spinning. But uh, yeah, the main focus of the guide is kind of focusing on completing a lot of quests. Um, there are tasks related to quest completion, and like if you are going like a melee build, you're probably going to want to do a lot of quests anyways. But I think it's always, early on when you have low levels, quests give little bits of XP here and there. Makes so much more sense just to complete that quest early, because you're going to have to do it at some point. Why not do it when it has like an effect on your level? So that was my mindset going into it the first day. I am about halfway through this guide. Granted, I'm at task 550 and there are 1200. And I'm sure some of these later tasks, not tasks, but on the guide, are going to take longer and longer. So but it's been great. It's been great so far. Right now, as of editing this video, I'm parked out at Fort 4 and 3, so it's finally given me some time to not only progress in game but make this video. So nothing too interesting has happened so thus far. No pets, unfortunately. Probably won't be doing any clue scrolls until I lock Clue Connoisseur, but can talk about kind of the plans on what we're gonna do. So I'm very much necromancy based. I love necromancy, and I kind of want to, I want to focus more on completing tasks, and completing, making progress. So in that regard, I believe necromancy will be the strongest overall. I know there's a lot of people who are looking at the melee relic, and there's a lot of fun stuff you can do with that. But I do believe going melee relic will also hinder you in quite a few boss fights. So Necromancy is such a solid choice overall. It's already really good in the main game, and it's really good at almost everything. So with all the league perks, it'll just get better. So I'm very excited for that. All of the combat relics are so far locked away. I mean, tier five in normal leagues isn't actually that far off, like old school RuneScape leagues. But old school RuneScape actually has 8 tiers of relics, whereas RS3 has 7 tiers, and so they're kind of spaced out based off of it being 7 instead of 8. And tier 5 to get your first combat relic is quite far away. They actually went ahead and did a reduction. I'll put up on the screen here, and they reduced the amount of points. So logging in this morning, I went from needing about 2,000 points to get to tier 4 to only needing about 500. Uh, I It was really nice to wake up to. So yeah, I mean, overall, there's not been really one thing I've been working towards. You know, it's kind of spread out until you get to the higher tiers of relics, which increase higher XP rates. It doesn't make a lot of sense to sit down and grind one skill too much. Going around and completing tasks, completing non grind set skills is always good early, because as soon as you get to tier 4 you're gonna get 8 times XP rate, and I think tier 6 is 12 times. Yeah, tier 4 you'll go up to 8x XP, and then tier 6 is 12x. So you may as well get all the way up to tier 4, just spreading out, doing as little grinding as possible, and then as soon as you hit tier 4 you can start locking in and doing some hard focused grinds. um, with all that being said, thank you all so much for stopping by, watching the video all the way through. If you enjoyed, please like the video, subscribe to see more coming throughout this leagues. I have plans to play a lot throughout this league and the new thing coming out in old school RuneScape. And if you're interested, I do stream over at Twitch, so feel free to stop by when I'm streaming and say hello. I really appreciate all you guys, and I hope to see you back here soon. Bye-bye.